to him, which means destruction to him, who built a town on blood. How in the hell you think you can build something on blood and everything is going to be all right? You know, in the world, they got something that's called karma. But in the Bible, it's called you reap what you sow.
That's right.
You reap what you sow. And what you see right now is a white man reaping what he has sown in this earth, man. That's what he has sown. Bloodshed.
You were sadly mistaken, man.
Right.
This is the death of America. That's what this place is. The fall of Babylon. We have a song in our organization we like to sing. It goes in something like this, right? Babylon is falling. So rise no more. Rise no more.
You in the crib, but the ball outside. I get it on outside. From the dust to the dawn outside. So in the morning outside, I'm catching wreck when they drawn outside. Cause it's a war outside. My sword's drawn outside. This Excalibur, you better be all outside. Cause it's a war outside. I get it on outside. You in the crib, but the ball outside. I get it on outside. And that's a definite. Cannonball, wrecking shit, excellent. Rhyme Barack Obama like the president. I remain strong, don't call you with the prevalence. I show you exactly what we do, that's how I represent. Hardcore, heaven sent, chain on, elevate. Throwing all black when they spot me like the leopard print. Oh, I got the braids in, shades on, made men. Cause we put in work to start the earth until they change it. Walk strong, talk heavy, hold my own. You rock solid when we bout to leave the sword to stone. Nigga, we warriors, hardcore, tracking the pride. To let the Hebrew speak, nigga, general. And we talking super heavy, nigga, that's all scripture, street talk. Word to Captain the Kai, nigga, we blazing, ripping the mic with all facts, doing knowledge to the max, till we back in the pavement. UPK, y'all the one West Hall, nigga, we spring forward and falling like it's hard.
Kizzy, I can shake your hand, I can respect you, you understand? I can respect you, you understand?
Give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my actions. Yes, you said so. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacle set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Mere fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock got back, gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. That was designed fast for our babies to pass through in the damn by King's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new pair of
It feels payback is a dog. Payback is a
What's the one West? If I could train a dragon, she'll tame a lion. Enigma, and I'm shining like a diamond out of Zion.
Mr. What's going on with you, man? Precinct Captain Dohar, Officer 1, man. Is it inviting you to our West Coast barbecue? You know, every year we having a barbecue on the West Coast, man. Can't wait to see y'all from all over the country pulling up in Las Vegas. It's gonna be a blast again. If anyone been to Las Vegas, you know it's a good time. You get what I'm saying? We're gonna have a good time again. You know what I mean? Big things go on, parties, barbecues. I know y'all like to gamble. We're gonna gamble a little bit too, man, and drink good liquor. You know what I mean? Most important thing, community and honor is gonna be in the building, so you gotta show up. If you're on the West Coast, man, in any surrounding areas, and when I say surrounding areas, I mean everywhere across America, pull up, man. You know what I mean? The head of the nation, Israel, gonna be there, man, with his solid generals, man. General Muhammad, General Mayak, you know what I'm saying? General Hazayan, General Katham Gabar, General Anya Shawamar, General Q, General Kuala, you know General Q gonna be in the building. So, you know, we cannot wait to see y'all, man. You know what I mean? So pull up December 1st through the 4th. It's gonna be a blast of the weekend. We have a good time, man. I'm going there. One gonna be there. The Wall, he's off camera. The camera at the Wall. He gonna be there as well. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a blast, man. Las Vegas. Tune in. Hey, shout out to Officer Shab running the whole thing. Shout out to the Las Vegas team. They're gonna do everything that's in accordance to having a good time for you. Pull up Las Vegas, December 1st to the 4th. We're gonna be there, man. Shalom.
Shalom, Israel, shalom. Let's clap it up, clap it up, let's clap it up. Precinct Officer Thawal Gabar. Man, we've been having some technical difficulties. Like Satan don't want the truth to come out, man. Especially when you're talking about this topic with you know, Kanye West and his black people, Jews, and you know who runs Hollywood, especially when you want to bring out biblical truths and historical truths. But we are going to get into it. If you're in there, if you're in the live, let me know in the chat if you can hear me. All right. We definitely, the brother had technical difficulties yesterday. Definitely today, I was like, what the hell is going on? Right. And it's just that, so listen, we're trying to broadcast through the airwaves, and Satan don't want that. Right. This truth must come out. This truth will come out. You understand? Under Commander Journey Yohana, I am Thawal Gabar. This is the law and history class. You already know what's been going on. There's a couple of videos I got. I got some videos on whether or not the Jews control Hollywood. And you'll hear it from their own mouth. In fact, General Hyman brought this out a couple of days ago. This exact documentary. I got the outrage from different people against Kanye West for even opening his mouth and saying what the truth was or what his experience was with Jewish people. I just want to say off top, this is the ISUK under Commander Jenny Hanna. I know what Southern poverty law and all them say about us, but listen, we are only speaking the truth. We are only speaking facts. We are only speaking the things that are in the Bible and the things that are actually happening. And a lot of stuff we bring out comes from history that Caucasians and Jewish people have wrote down. So in a way, we are bringing out the truth against the lies, but the truth, and a lot of times, come from the people who we are testifying against with this truth. So we're going to get into it, man. Like, who are the biblical ethnic Jews? Are Black people the biblical ethnic Jews? Are the people today who call themselves Jewish, are they the biblical ethnic Jews? We're going to get into it. So if you can give me the first scripture, that I asked for.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine.
So the Lord said that we should be holy. We should be a people that are separate. We should be a people that are set apart from the world and from everybody else. That was the criteria for God's chosen people. Now, Kanye West said something that was heavy that I think a lot of people who are calling him an anti-Semite or anti-Semitic, a lot of people missed. That he said he was jealous of the way that they deal with one another. He was jealous of the way, they work together. He was jealous of those traits. And he wished that Black people could have those same traits. In other words, he gave them a compliment. And they got mad at a compliment. If you really listen to what he was saying, he gave them a damn compliment, right? And because everybody is so sensitive and there's this rhetoric of anti-Semitism, nobody's even what you're saying, right? But the reason why the so-called Jewish people, and we can admit Jewish people do stick together. They do have their own sections. I know for a fact they have their own sections in Los Angeles. They have their own sections in their neighborhoods in New York City. But they do stick together. And you know why they're able to do that? Do you know why they're able to prosper? And this is not something that is out of the ordinary, right? Because all nations actually do it. Black people just don't recognize it. Black people don't see it as that. Is because you are gamed up by the idea that America is a big melting pot of diversity. So you don't look at it like people are sticking together when in fact they are sticking together, when in fact they are preferring their own kind, when in fact there's nothing against the body. That is nothing. I mean, that is completely natural. There's nothing that is unnatural about a person loving his own people. That's what everybody should do. But the problem is that Black and Hispanic people have come to love their oppressors more than they love their own people. Then we cry out and we say, well, I wish we were like them. Well, that's natural. It's natural. There's a scripture where it says, I'm paraphrasing, you will prefer your kind. You will prefer alike the type of person that you are. You're going to prefer to hang around Black people. You might have other friends from other nationalities, but your preference is to be around your kind because you understand each other, you know each other, right? And there's a common bond right there. And so he was jealous of Jews. He said he was jealous of them. But part of the reason why they prosper, and a part of the reason why, they when they get into a certain industry and they hold on to secrets and they keep it between themselves, is because the Bible, that's what the Bible prescribed. They're using the law, statute, and commandments to do these things. Stay with me, young man. They're using the law, statute, and commandments to do these things. You understand? When you think that you're American, you think that you are a Christian, and you don't even know any of the laws, and you think the laws are done away with, and you hate your brother, you hate your sister, right? Like Black people, I was having a discussion with a brother at the slavery, and he was an older brother. He was older than me. And he was just like, we don't, we don't stick together. When we get something, we look at each other like you trying to take it away from me. Like I said, basically, when you want to learn something as a black person and that another black person knows, they learn that thing and you ask them for help and they charge you for it. The game is to be sold, not to be told. That is our motto in the black community. We'll charge each other for it. You say, well, brother, how did you do that? Like, I'm trying to do that, the same thing that you did. Well, you know, all you got to do is pay $29.95 for these classes. You know, that's what we do to one another. We charge, or we just don't help one another because we don't want somebody to have what we got. We think what we got is so much when there's more than enough to go around. In the scriptures, many times the Israelites came together, people took off their jewelry, we took off everything, and then it got dispersed back out to make sure that everybody had what they needed, right? A lot of the things that you got, you can't, well, all of the shit that you got, you can't take it back, you can't take it to the grave with you, right? So there's no point in harboring and gathering and gobbling up as much as you can and, you know, getting a bigger bag, because one day you're going to die. And when you die, somebody that didn't work for that money, they're going to do what they want to do with it. No matter what you want, no matter if you have your wishes for what your inheritance should be, your children are going to do what they want to do. The lawyers are going to do what they want to do, right? As the scriptures say, somebody that didn't work for it is going to get your money, right? So you might as well put it to good use. You might as well put your knowledge to good use and help your brother and sister. But Kanye West was mad at that. He was upset at that, right? That's one of the things. Read it from the top one more time.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy.
Right.
And have severed you from other people.
The Lord said that he had severed us from other people. Severed means to violently be cut off. That's what the Lord did. He wanted his people not to deal with other nations. And so Jewish people, that's what they do. They cut themselves off from other groups. And they're all about the money. They're all about investment and taking care of their own. It ain't just Jewish people. It's a lot of different groups. You just don't recognize it. All right. So it's been talk about, do the Jews run Hollywood, right? And so I wanted to bring out this video. We're going to get into this video real quick. Let me get it real quick. You know what? I might hold off on that. I'll hold off on it. I'm gonna hold off. Give me Babylon from Timbuktu right here, page 84. Because we're trying to figure out, how did the Israelites, it's hard for people to wrap their head around the fact that black people could be God's chosen people, because we've been such outcasts for so many years. Black people were outcasts in West Africa. There's stories that black people Negroes couldn't even come into Native African townships without being beaten, right? They despised us. Everywhere you go, you are despised. We have always been outcast. We're outcast even amongst our own people, right? Go ahead.
Highlighted the whole page.
Highlight it.
Page 84, from Babylon to Timbuktu.
Mm-hmm.
In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
So we're talking about 70 AD. Josephus talks about it being about a 7-year war where the Romans came and besieged Jerusalem, right? And it was great wars between the Romans and the Israelites. Eventually, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem, ransacked the temple, and ran the Israelites out. Christ prophesied about this. Let me get this real quick. Give me just hold where you at. Give me Matthew 24 and 16.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 16. Then let them which be in Judea. Then let them
read up one. Go to verse 15.
Verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand.
So when you see the abomination of desolation, that's what we're reading about in Babylon from Timbuktu. When the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem once and for all, and they profaned the temple, and they stole things and took them back to their city. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
So those that are in Judea or Judah, flee unto the mountains, right? Flee into the mountains where? Go ahead. Keep reading.
Verse 17. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
We're saying if you're on your house top, don't go back to your house to try to get anything, right? Go ahead.
Verse 18.
Neither
let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Right. So it's saying Christ is telling you, don't try to turn around and go get anything that you need. Get the hell up out of there. Flee to the mountains. Get up out of there. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
So he said, woe to them that are with child, the pregnant women that have that have infants. Not the pregnant women, but that have infants, that have toddlers. He said, woe to them. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath.
You can drop that. Go back to Babylon, Timbuktu. That was Christ prophesying what would happen to Jerusalem, to the Israelites. Go ahead. So let's see. Christ, this war happened between 70 and 100 years after Christ's death. Go ahead.
Page 84, out of From Babylon to Timbuktu. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state, with great slaughter. With great slaughter.
Go ahead.
During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery.
So it is saying that Jews fled into Africa, and even in the Roman Jewish War by Josephus, who was a historian that lived in that time period, he said that some Jews went into Africa. They went into Egypt, right? So imagine Caucasian people or white people going into Africa. Could they flee into Africa and hide? Or would they stick out like a sore thumb? Would they stick out like how you stick out when you're walking through their neighborhood with a damn hoodie and some Skittles on? I think they would stick out. You understand? But you said the Jewish markets were filled with what?
Slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
Black Jewish slaves. And that's kind of like weird to say. Black Jewish, the Jews were black, right? I hate when people say black Israelites. No, the Israelites were black, right? You could drop that. Give me Second Maccabees 6 and 6. Second Maccabees 6 and 6. All right. So what you come to find out is that if you say you're a Jew, the whole world will come down on you. Who said Nick Cannon said he was a Jew? Well, he said the Semites were black. We're gonna get into that. We got some books here that will show you what the original Semites look like, right? Whoopi Goldberg said that Jewish is not a race, and they came down on her. We're gonna get into that. We got some books out of their own mouth where they say different. Where you find out that Whoopi Goldberg was actually right? By the mouth of Jewish people. Let me know when you got that. Okay.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself.
That was go skip up to 5.
Verse 5. The altar also was filled with profane things which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts.
So in we were up under the Greeks. This is before the Romans. They did not allow us. You couldn't say that you were a Jew. You couldn't profess that you were a Jew. This actually happened also later on in West Africa. When the Jews were in West Africa in the area of Timbuktu, the King Askia of Muhammad, meaning Islam had basically covered all of Africa. And Jews had to profess that they had to convert to Islam. You couldn't profess that you was a Jew. And if he found out that anybody was dealing with a Jew, he would take everything they had, right? And he would banish them. This happened plenty of times where we could not profess. Even today in America, we cannot profess that we are God's chosen people. That's how you know we God's chosen people. We are not the people that are walking around saying like we are God's chosen people. We're not doing that. We're saying we're African American. We're saying we're everything else under the sun. We've never in the history of being here in America profess that we are Jew. But there is a group of people on the planet that do that. But you know we are the Israelites because we don't. And anytime we do say that we are the Jews, we get backlash. We get canceled. We lose endorsements. You understand? Go. What you got? Yes.
Verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts.
So you couldn't keep Sabbath days. You couldn't keep the ancient feasts. You see how we do now? You couldn't do those things. Go ahead.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
You couldn't profess to be a Jew. Like Kanye West has such a gigantic platform, and Kanye West is not in the truth. But Kanye West is better than your Christian pastor. Kanye West is better than your religious leader and your civic leaders, your civil rights leaders. He's better. Why? Because he's saying something that's going against the grain. No different than Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick wasn't in the truth, but the ISUPK, we appreciate what Colin Kaepernick did. You got to be a brother that's willing to sacrifice everything. You got to be willing to lose everything that you had. And it takes you back to the time of the rich man. The rich man that came to Christ and said, "What do I have to do?" Christ said, "Sell everything you have. You'll be perfect." He said, "I've done everything from my youth. I've honored my mother and my father. I've done everything right. What else do I need to do? Sell everything you have, and you'll be perfect." And he walked away sorrowful. He couldn't do it. He could not do it. So in order to go against the grain, you have to have some type of cojones. You got to have some type of balls, some type of grit about you to go against the status quo, to go against the world in essence, right? And you don't get that type of, you can't muster that type of energy, that type of bravery and courage, saying that you're African. You can't muster that type of bravery saying that you're Egyptian, right? When you look at the greatest revolts, and I'm not telling nobody to revolt, or I'm not telling anybody to go get super revolutionary and go start killing people. But when you look at, what is his name? Marcus Garvey, you look at Nat Turner, you look at a lot of people who have risen up, it was because something that they seen in the Bible. Without the Bible, you can't muster the bravery and the courage to do anything in America as Black people. You'll march, you'll do all of that. You'll go to Washington, D.C. and ask for reparations, right? But the hard thing, telling your people to change, and what can reparations really do, right? You'll be broke in 2 weeks. It can't. Our problem is not money in the Black and Hispanic community. Money is not the issue anymore. It's brotherhood. It's morals. That's the issue with our people, right? That's the issue with our people. If we decided to work on those things, the Black community, Hispanic community would change overnight. and we'll be just like the people that you despise, just like the people you say that control everything. Well, we'll be controlling things. We'll be on top. People will come to us and ask us for advice on what we should do in situations, right? Money is not the problem with us at this point. In fact, money would not solve a damn thing in the black community. Niggas will still be killing one another. Our sisters will still be half naked on the internet. None of the things will change. Our children will still be gremlins. That's something else I wanted to talk about. When it comes to I think I'm beating a dead horse, but when it comes to Halloween, you know, you ain't gotta be afraid of the scary movies and afraid of ghouls and goblins. You got damn goblins running around your neighborhood. Blacks and Hispanics killing one another, right? You got a damn monster. You got that woman in that house that's raising a monster. That child is going to grow up to be a monster. Black and Hispanic men killing one another on the corners of America. You understand? You ain't gotta worry about Halloween or be scared of Halloween. Be scared of your damn self. Be scared of of the destruction of your people. Be scared of the brothers that's, you know, raping and robbing and doing heinous crimes. That's a gremlin. That's a real gremlin. That's the sister online twerking. That's a real a goblin. That's a real booger wolf right there. That you should be afraid of that. That is the destruction of our people. That is the destruction of our community. That is why we, as a people, when other nations look at us, we can't get no damn respect. Right? Because we are not an honorable people that the Lord called us to be. We are not severed from America. We have not severed ourselves. It's like you got a disease in your hand, right? Your hand is diseased and it's just spreading. And you can make a choice. Either you keep the hand and your whole body get diseased, or you can cut it off. Violently cut it off. And that's what we got to do with the ways of America and the ways of this world. You got to violently sever yourself from their culture, from their practices, and from their way of life. We know we can't just get up and leave. We know that we can't go to another country. We know these things. But what we can do is stop doing the evil, wicked things that we do in America and change and never do it again, right? Decide to serve the Lord. Decide right now that you're not going to celebrate these holidays, right? Decide today that you're not going to smoke weed anymore. Decide right now, and we can change, right? So I could give me Deuteronomy 28:68. See, because I'm trying to figure out, like, who are the Jews? Because the Bible describes a certain people and certain things that they would go through. One of the most iconic things in the world, if not one of the most biggest events, was the transatlantic slave trade. That was one of the most biggest events, if not the biggest, in world history that is recognizable. There has been other things that happened, like the the atomic bomb being dropped. You know what I mean? Things in history that were big events, but that was a big event. Why? Because at no other time in history had a whole nation of people been shipped off on cargo slave ships to the West Indies, to Brazil. That's where most of the slaves went to the West Indies, to America, to Spain, and to Europe. At no point in time, because you know they like to say, "Oh, everybody's been in slavery." You know, white people were slaves too. White people were not slaves. Irish were not slaves. They were indentured servants. So it's a big difference from being in chattel slavery and being in indentured servitude. Indentured servitude is you can work yourself out of slavery. You can work for 7 years and, you know, work yourself out of slavery. The slavery that black people were in was when you die. I mean, when your child is born, they're a slave too. I own you, your child, and your child's child. You're my property, and it ain't no getting out. Maybe I might let you buy your way out of slavery. That was our situation. That was our condition. And it was one of the biggest events that the world has ever seen. The known civilized world, so-called civilized world, had ever seen. Go ahead and give me that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with
Right.
ships, by the way whereof
He said, the Lord said he shall bring you into Egypt again by ships. By ships, right? Go ahead.
by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Wait, Salagi, the sister said, I haven't heard Booger Wolf in a long. Salagi says, that's funny. But that's what the Booger Wolves and Gremlins, you understand? That's what we are in our community. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Right.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen.
So we were sold. He said we were going to Egypt again by ships. Egypt meaning house of bondage, according to Exodus 20:1, right? That precept upon precept. That's Isaiah 28:10. You got to read a little here, a little there. Got to read precept upon. You might ask, how do I know that Egypt means house of bondage? Well, it says it in Exodus 20:1. He said we will go into Egypt again by ships. Egypt is like right around the corner. You can walk to Egypt through the desert from Israel, right? From that area. So it's not talk. A lot of brothers will say, oh, right there. Yeah, did we go on ships to Egypt? There's no point. You could walk, you could caravan from Israel to Egypt. The mountains, from the mountains of Israel, you could see the pyramids. It's right around the bend. So that's not what it's talking about. There's only one other thing it's talking about. Cargo slave ships. Go ahead. Read it from the top one more time for me.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 68.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
He's going to bring you into Egypt again with ships. Now, remember, this is right after the Lord is telling you, if you obey, these are the blessings that you can get. But if you don't obey, these are the curses. And this was one of the curses. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
And Moses is saying, the way where I'm telling you this at, you won't see it anymore again. Like in the wilderness, where I'm speaking this, you won't see this land again. Go ahead.
And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
So there you shall be sold to your enemies, not your friends, not your fellow Americans, not your fellow citizens. You shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, slave men and slave women. Go ahead.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy you. Meaning there's no way you could get out of this. No one will redeem you out of this situation, right? Because, a lot of people like to say, especially when it comes to slavery, and you have the abolitionist movement where, Europeans started to say, well, it's wrong. The British said it's wrong. We want to stop slavery, but the Africans are still doing slavery. Listen, we'll get to the African side in a minute. Why do you get to be the villain and the superhero? So you participated in the slavery, but now you're stopping it. And now you want us to look back in history and say, oh, that was great of you. That was good of you. You're a decent human being, right? Even when it comes to Hollywood, they are always painted as the villain, but also he's the superhero, right? He puts you in a situation, then he comes swoops in like Superman to save the day. And now you're looking at your people like, what have you done for me? At least they did this for me, right? At least he did give me an opportunity. He gave me this job. You understand? That's it on that, right? So when it comes to slavery, is this talking about the people who call themselves Jews today in Israel? I don't know. I mean, I'm not, I barely graduated high school. I'm not the smartest guy, but it don't sound like it's talking about them. It don't sound like that actually happened to them, but it did happen to a certain group of people. of people that don't call themselves Jews, of people that don't even know who they are. Matter of fact, give me Jeremiah 17:4. It sounds really familiar, but it don't sound like the people who claim to be God's people in the earth today. I don't remember them ever going through that. I don't remember them ever being on cargo slave ships. All right. You got that paper over there for the 13th tribe? All right. Let's go. Excuse me. 17:4. Jeremiah 17:4. Give me that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage
Go ahead, Salaki.
Shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
So the Lord is saying through the prophet Jeremiah that we would discontinue from our heritage that he gave us. Discontinue means we're no longer selling these shirts anymore. They've been discontinued. They're cut off. And you ask why we don't know, why the world doesn't know, is because the Lord decided to let us lose our identity. We were discontinued from our identity. It was a point in a time in the earth where we didn't even know who we were. You had Israelites, Hebrews in West Africa living by African customs and barely holding on to some customs of their forefathers. You had Gadites in North America that, they looked up to the Great Spirit. They was doing all kind of other ghost dance, doing all kind of other things, right? And barely held on to a semblance of who they were in ancient times past. The Lord said, you will forget who you are, right? You would discontinue from your heritage. What is your heritage? It's an inheritance. It's being able to be called, being surnamed, being able to be called the sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's your inheritance, right? If you could give me, where were we at? Give me Daniel 1:7. No, 7 and 9. 7 and 9. Daniel 7 and 9. So we forgot our heritage. So I want to get into a little bit of what did people look like in the Bible? Were they dark? Were they white? Were they black? Were they white? What did they look like? I don't know. We're going to read the scriptures and find out what the Bible says. Go ahead.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9. Mm-hmm. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow.
So Daniel is seeing a vision. He's seen the Ancients of Days. He's seen the Most High, whose garment was what?
Whose garment was white as snow.
His garment was white as snow. Go ahead.
And the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
It said the hair of his head was like the pure wool. Pure wool. You ever seen wool? Wool is just like black people's hair. It is like, what is that grade they call, like when you got the real kinky, like that nigga hair? 4C. Wool is 4C. That's what wool is. That's the grade of hair that the Most High have. Go ahead. Did you finish that, host? No, you can drop that. So we see that the Most High, he got to be a black man. Give me Exodus. I'm not missing nothing in there. Read that again, Salaki. I think we went over it too fast.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9.
Uh-huh.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Right.
Whose garment was white as snow,
mm-hmm.
and the hair of his head like the pure wool.
Mm-hmm.
His throne was like the fiery flame.
Okay.
And his wheels as burning fire.
Okay, we're talking about his throne. Fiery flame. Terrible looking, right? The Most High, when Christ returns, it's going to be a terrible day. It's going to be a very frightening day for people. They're not going to understand it. You're not going to understand when Christ returns, right? Because the sights that you think you're going to see, it's going to be terrible, and your heart is going to melt in your chest. Go ahead and drop that. Give me, let's get Exodus 4 and 6 with Moses. Exodus 4 and 6.
The book of Exodus, chapter 4, and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put down thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and he took it out.
So he had Moses put his hand into his bosom like this. And then he took it out. Go ahead.
And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
So when Moses took his hand out of his bosom, his hand was white and leprous, like snow, right? That was considered, being unclean in a disease. And so if he put his hand in and took it out and it was leprous, white as snow, what color does that mean Moses was? Because see, the Jewish people, they venerate Moses. They venerate him also. They go by the Torah, right? But it's telling you, see, other groups, other people don't read the Bible like how it's supposed to be read. Your Christian pastor don't read the Bible how it's supposed to be read. Read it from the top again. I wonder what goes through a Christian mind, a black Christian pastor's mind when he's reading that. Go ahead.
The book of Exodus chapter 4 and verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom.
Uh-huh.
And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
Right.
Verse 7. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom.
Uh-huh.
And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
As his other flesh. So his hand turned back after it turned back to the original color was. Kind of like Jacob and Esau. Esau was the first person they ever said he was red, ever described his color, because he was different. Everybody else was black. Everybody was brown. You understand? So to be leprous, white as snow, that is something that's like, damn, what's wrong with you? Right? That's how that was looked at in the Bible. So we got two instances of characteristics of the Most High and of a man of Moses, right? So give me, let's get it. Give me Heritage of the Jews. I got it right here, Salakia. I'm gonna put this picture up too. Heritage of the Jews. You're gonna have to come get it. Salakia. This book right here. Let me see. This book is right here. It's called Heritage. Is that the right way? Pictorial History of the Jewish People. Salakia. Let me get this real quick. This is gonna blow your mind, right? Pictorial history. Let me see. So y'all remember when Whoopi Goldberg, they got on her head. They got on her head about I think she was on The View, and she said that, Jewish is not a race. That's what she said. And I think they suspended her for about 2-3 weeks. And I think Whoopi Goldberg I think she said something down there like she was ready to just quit TV over that. She was done, right? And then I guess they allowed her to come back. Similar to a lot of people that say something, and even if it's truthful, you're called an anti-Semite even when it's truthful. Now, this book, I want you to read out the author, read who the author is, and read the title.
This is a pictorial history of the Jewish people.
Updated
edition by Azubel. Is that Ausubel?
Ausubel.
Ausubel.
What's his full name? Yeah, you got just open it up.
By Nathan Ausubel.
Nathan Ausubel, right? He's a Jewish man. So I want you to go right there to the first page, page 2, where it's highlighted, and read that hitter where it says, are they a race?
Are the Jews a race? Perhaps the most widely held view of all is that the Jews from a distinct race, so like you form a distinct race by themselves. One constantly meets Jews who refer to themselves as belonging to the Jewish race. Many Christians and on the other hand, think of the Jews as being members of the Semitic race. To speak precisely in the language of the anthropologists, there is no such thing as a Jewish race.
There's what?
There is no such thing as a Jewish race.
Nah, you can't tell me they out here counseling people, dropping them, making them lose money because they saying things that are true that they even said in their own history. It said that to speak precisely in the language of the anthropologists, there is no such thing as a Jewish race. What are they saying? What are they saying? What they actually are saying is that when it comes to being Jewish is a religion. And it goes on to show you all the different type of Jews that, live in Europe from different ethnic groups. Now, when you look at, even today, you have different, ethnicities. You got Caucasian people that are Jewish. You got black people. You got Ethiopians and Africans that are Jewish. They go by that religion, right? So this is a cut to anybody that says that they are a race. Because how can you be a race when anybody could be Jewish if they decide to follow Judaism? Anybody could be Christian if they decide to follow Christianity. Anybody could be Buddhist if they decide to follow. You get my point. You get my point. They are not a race. We're going to get exactly who they are. So if you could give me that give me that the 13th tribe. One second, let me see. I'm gonna try to follow along. Now, go ahead and read the title and now this Arthur Koestler, he was a Jewish man. And basically what he found out is that in order for the Jewish people to be part of the 12 tribes of Israel, then there would have to be a 13th tribe. Because through their research, his research, he found that they sprung from the Khazarian Empire or the Ashkenazi Khazarian Jews, right? And so we're going to read a little bit of what the research and what they found. And go ahead, read.
The 13th tribe by Koestler.
Arthur Koestler.
Koestler,
right?
13th tribe. A few years later, probably AD 740, the king, his Tenderma court, and the military ruling class embraced the Jewish faith, and Judaism became the state religion of the Khazars. So what had happened in the 7th century, the Khazars were a warlike people. They were a people that were strong in military, all right? And so you had two powers at this time. You had Christianity, which was the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Catholic, church, the Byzantine Empire, and then you had the Muslim Caliphate. And both of them wanted the Khazars to pay tribute and fight for them. Basically come and bend the knee and be a tributary nation up under them. Well, the king of the Khazars didn't want to do that. And he wanted to be independent. And so what the king of the Khazars did was he converted to the religion of Judaism. He converted his whole nation, the Khazars. Keep reading. No doubt, their contemporaries were as astonished by this decision as modern scholars were when they came across the evidence in the Arab, Byzantine, Russian, and Hebrew sources. One of the most recent comments to be found in a work by the Hungarian Marxist historian Dr. Antal Bartha. His book on the Magyar society in the 8th and 9th centuries has several chapters on the Khazars, as during most of that period, the Hungarians were ruled by them. Yet the conversion to Judaism is discussed in a single paragraph with obvious embarrassment. It reads, "Our investigations cannot go into problems pertaining to the history of ideas, but we must call the reader's attention to the matter of the Khazars' kingdom's state religion. It was the Jewish faith which became the official religion of the ruling strata of society. Needless to say, the acceptance of the Jewish faith as a state religion of an ethnically non-Jewish people could be the subject of interesting speculations. We shall, however, confine ourselves to the remark that this official conversion in defiance of Christian
what's the word? Proselyte?
Proselyte.
Let me see it.
Proselytizing.
Yeah, proselytizing.
Proselytizing.
Like converting. Go ahead.
In defiance of Christian proselytizing by Byzantium, the Muslim influence from the East converted from the East, and in spite of the political pressure of these two powers, to a religion which had no support from any political power, was persecuted by nearly all, has become a surprise to all historians concerned with the Khazars.
Okay, so right there, they were surprised that the Khazars, they decided to convert to the religion or following the law, statutes, and commandments they looked at it like this was a religion that had no support from anybody, and it was constantly what did it say? They had no support, and they were constantly what?
Political power or was persecuted by nearly all.
Persecuted by nearly all. So they converted. They didn't want to be Muslim. The Khazars didn't want to be Muslim, or they didn't want to be Christians. So they decided that we're going to convert to following Judaism. This is in the 7th century. This is why it is so ingrained with the Jewish community that their identity is that of being God's chosen people, because for literally thousands of years they have claimed that title, but it was through conversion. It was through, saying, "Oh, I want to follow this." Now, when it comes to the Israelites of the Bible, you have to be born into this. You have to be blood, family, a race, not a religion. We're not following a religion in the truth. This is our identity according to the scriptures. Keep reading.
Which leaves us only slightly more bewildered. To a religion which had no support from any political power, was persecuted by nearly all, has become as a surprise to all historians concerned with Khazars, and cannot be considered as accidental, but must be regarded as a sign of the independent policy pursued by the kingdom, which leaves us only slightly more bewildered than before. Yet, whereas the sources differ in minor detail, the major facts are beyond dispute. What is in 13th century. On this problem, the sources are scant, but various late medieval Khazar settlements are mentioned in the Crimea, in the Ukraine, in Hungary, Poland, Lithuania. The general picture.
Just stop right there. So what it's saying is that they have found Khazarian settlements in Crimea. What did it say? Ukraine, Poland, and Lithuania. This is where, when they look for traces of the ancient Khazars, this is where they find them. They don't find traces of the ancient Khazars, in the land of Israel. This is a new thing where they have made the land of Israel a state and have moved there from Europe. Keep reading.
The general The general picture that emerges from these fragmentary pieces of information
Mhm.
is that a migration of Khazar tribes and communities into those regions of Eastern Europe, mainly Russia and Poland, where at the dawn of the modern age, the greatest concentrations of Jews were found. This has led
So they
to-
found the greatest concentration of Jews in the areas of Russia and Poland. Keep reading.
Where at the dawn of the modern age, the greatest concentration of Jews were found. This has led several historians to conjecture that a substantial part, and perhaps the majority of Eastern Jews, and hence of world Jewry, might be of Khazar and not of Semitic, not of Semitic.
You're gonna have to read that. You're gonna have to read that last. You gotta get that one. Has to be. Go ahead.
This has led several historians to conjecture that a substantial part, and perhaps the majority of Eastern Jews, and hence of world Jewry, might be of Khazar and not of Semitic origin.
They might be of Khazar. The historians have concluded that they might be of Khazar and not Semitic, because there is no evidence for them being Semitic. The evidence point to them being the Khazars or the Ashkenazi Jews. You understand? And so keep reading, because that's it. Of Eastern, say that one more time. All the Jewish people in the world, right? Or when in 1948 they went and created the state of Israel. They were flying them for free. Even today, I think it's called like the law of return or something like that. If I can remember it right, where they'll fly you back to your homeland you desired to be at from ancient times. When their own scholars are saying that they were never there. They don't even come from a Semitic line, right? They come from a Khazarian. They come from Khazaria, the Khazarian Empire, and their king converted in the 7th century. This is real history. I hope a Jewish person is listening. This is your real history. This is the real history that Jewish scholars are saying that this is what it is, right? We can't find any traces, but we do find you in Crimea. We do find you in the Ukraine, Poland, and Russia, and Lithuania. We do find settlements in places, fragments of this ancient kingdom and this migration of this ancient kingdom, mostly in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe. You understand? Now, there's another scholar that I've been waiting on the book. The book ain't even came. I wanted to have the book for tonight. It's another scholar by the name of Shlomo Sand. He's a Jewish scholar, and he's educated professor at the University of Tel Aviv in Israel. He's Jewish to the bone. And he's came out with 2 books. One of the books is The Invention of Israel, the State of Israel. Another book is The Invention of the Jewish People. And he goes in and he basically is saying that the Jews or the Jewish people are not connected to the biblical ancient Israelites. Ain't that something? Let me pull it up on the screen so you can get the book. He's saying they are not connected to, it's an invention. Look at the title. It's an invention. And they are not connected to the ancient Israelites. Right? If I could, let me see what I want. Salakia. Give me. We're gonna go into another heavy book. Y'all gonna, I hope they don't stop this live, because the book I'm about to bring out, you're gonna be like, ooh wee. Ooh wee. Let me see. So we're gonna just go into another book. Listen, we're in class right now, so we're about to go into another book. Now, when it comes to the music, maybe I should go into this video. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go into this video of Hollywood. Some of y'all probably seen it. Some of you probably haven't seen it. Do the Jews run Hollywood? Because that's what Kanye West was saying. He was saying the Jews, they run Hollywood. So I'm gonna go into this. Just give me a second. I'm gonna screen share. Just bear with me. We'll get it on. There we go. Let's get it. Let's see. Right here. I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to this. Skip us up. I want that 25-minute mark. That's good.
Yes, to my fair lady. So he must have been doing something right.
There's a very romantic notion that Hollywood movies were made by artists. The director and the writer and to a certain extent stars actually made these movies. Those were the real artists, and these guys were only businessmen. I would place the artistic sensibility not with the director, but with the studio head. And for those who say, well, this is ridiculous, I would say, from beginning to end, the executive had the primary input into the picture and supervised every aspect of production.
Now let me just give you some backdrop. This is talking about the Jews starting Hollywood, and it just got past the part where it was talking about at one time it was the Edison company that made movies on the East Coast, and they tried to have a monopoly, and so the Jews decided to come to the West Coast, and that's how Hollywood was created. Now, there wasn't movies. I'm not saying there wasn't movies, but Hollywood, as you know it today, was created by the Jewish influence.
Over and above the fact that beyond any individual picture, it was the executive who created the entire studio apparatus. Every producer who worked there, every director who worked there, every writer who worked there, and every star who worked there was part of the larger system that was created by the Hollywood Jews.
Did you hear that? He said everybody that worked there, everybody that was a part, actors, executives, everybody was a part of the system that was created by the Hollywood Jews, right? So it wasn't like a mixture. It was like they dominated the whole workforce. They ran everything. All right.
I'm not sure that there was an, quote, American dream before the Jews came to Hollywood. And
oh, what? She said she's not sure there was an American dream before the Jews came to Hollywood.
And invented it. What you had was a westward movement, and you had the idea of freedom, but you didn't have what we have today, which is a popular culture that creates dreams. That's a dream factory.
So, like General Hyman was saying, when he brought it out, they created dreams. Like your whole, people don't understand the power of movies and the power of programming, television program. She said Hollywood, they created a dream factory where people could see movies and dream about things and hope for a better life and try new things. And so these images were how could I say, they were images of dreams, of fanciful things that you could do, things you would want to do, that type of thing.
Once the studios were in place, the Jewish moguls produced hundreds of feature-length films each year. Movies that entered America with a new vision of itself. A vision that was very different from that of the establishment filmmakers of the Edison Trust.
Be optimistic, don't you be a mourner. Brighten up that corner and smile. Don't wear a long face, it's never in style. Be optimistic and smile.
They got to put their hopes and aspirations and mythologies about what a perfect life would be like, which is something I think people probably spend a long time thinking about when they have a very imperfect life with a great deal of persecution, disempowerment. You know, the system be, if we could make it up and show it to you.
So what she's saying is like they had an opportunity to put their hopes, their dreams, and their mythologies in the movies. So by design, what you are watching is what they want you to see and how they want you to think. And I'm not saying that like this is some big plot, but the point is that Hollywood started with Jewish people running everything to this day. And they're telling you in this documentary was what, 1998? This documentary 20 years ago, but they're telling you these are Jewish people. They're telling you what was done. They're telling you, yeah, this is how we did it. They're telling you. So now, was Kanye West wrong when he said that? I don't know. What was he a little off, or could he have said it in a different way? Was he telling the truth? I'm gonna keep going.
I want to make that come to life for every boy in this land. Yes, and all light it up like that, too. I'm free to think and to speak. My ancestors couldn't. I can. And my children will.
The Jewish determination to survive was repackaged as the will of all common people to go on.
We sure taking a beating. I know. That's what makes us tough. Rich fellas come up, they die, and their kids ain't no good and they die out. But we keep a coming. We're the people that live. They can't wipe us out, they can't lick us.
You hear that? She said they come up, they have bad kids, they die out, but we just keep coming. We the people that live. You know, that's that idea that you are God's chosen people put into the movie. You understand? That's what the lady was saying earlier. Is like they put their mythologies and their ideas into the movie, right? Let me skip up a little bit, get to the heavy hitting part. If you could grab me, let me see. Just hold it. Let me get this.
Created the images, the icons, and the visual forms that we identify with the American way of life.
They created their own America, an America, real America. It's their own version of the real America. But ultimately, this shadow America becomes so popular and so widely disseminated that its images and its values come to devour the real America. And so the grand irony of all of Hollywood is that Americans come to define themselves by the shadow America that was created by Eastern European Jewish immigrants who weren't admitted to the precincts of the real America.
So he said the shadow of, he said America started to move and think through the shadow America, which was the so-called Jewish people who were making the movies. They created a whole world based off of the movies they were creating in Hollywood. Ain't that something? I think Kanye West probably was right. Because when you look at the music industry, right? Oh, we're gonna get to it. No sweat. Let me just skip it up real quick. Where we at?
Here.
It's her house, isn't it?
Every bit of it.
Let's talk to Francis then. How long?
Check it for 2, you mean for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where you all going? Hollywood! Hollywood!
When Jews came to America, it wasn't only Mayflower wasps who seemed to embody America to them. American blacks were quintessential Americans. I mean, that was one of the things that made America America, the presence of black people. And the indigenous African American culture was of tremendous in the music, popular styles, and so on.
The Hollywood Jews may have wanted to marry into white America, but when it came to music, Jewish composers looked to black. Harold Arlen, the son of a liturgical singer or cantor, became one of the foremost popularizers of the blues.
Jews served as messengers, in essence, of black culture.
She said Jews served as messengers of black culture. Have you ever heard the term culture vulture?
They took it, they consumed it, they integrated it into their own cultural repertoire, and
they consumed it, they integrated it into their own cultural repertoire. They are literally telling you what happened behind, what is happening and what has happened behind the scenes.
And then introduced it to white America that was essentially willing to listen to Jews and to partake of what Jews had to offer in a way that they never would from blacks.
First on Broadway and later in the Hollywood musical, this was the way Jewish music often sounded.
He said first on Broadway and then in musicals. This is how Jewish music sounded. Why did it sound that way? Because they took it from black people. And then they turned around and they presented it to white America, because white Americans, you know, they hated niggas, but they would take that flavor that they learned from black people. They would take it from another group of white people.
In writing lyrics, they turned to their Jewish immigrant concerns of people needing to belong somewhere, needing some kind of redemption through America. The Jews took these themes, but instead of putting them to Jewish music, they borrowed black forms that they saw as authentically American. In a sense, they wrote music in blackface.
Good night. Did you hear that? It said they took. Salagia. Go ahead. Go ahead. Those are real black people. No, those are real black people. What he was saying is that they want to tell their story, but in order to tell their story, they use our flavor and they use, you know, our talent to tell their story through us. So in essence, it was like musical blackface. You understand? And that still happens today. That is still happening today. So was Kanye West wrong when he said that they run everything? They run Hollywood. They run the entertainment business. You be the judge. You be the judge. All right. We're going to get into, now I have a book. And let me just, while I'm getting this book is called The Nazis by Time Life. Let me put it up real quick. You see, in the ISBK, we do real scholarship. You understand? This book is called, put it up right there. Camera focusing. This book is called The Nazis. The Nazis, World War II by Time Life Books. And you don't have to get this one. I'm gonna pull it up. So what happened was, you know, I know they hate Hitler, right? They should hate George Washington too. They should hate Thomas Jefferson too, right? As far as I'm concerned, they all devils, but at the end of the day, this was put in a book. It was the scholarship was written down, and we're going to get into it because there is some interesting things that they came up with. Now, in this book, what they did was there's a page where Hitler had his generals do some research. And when they did some research in the history of the so-called Jewish people, they found out some interesting things. Before I pull that up, I want to pull up this image. Let me see if I can pull it up. This image right here. This image says Entarte music. What does it mean? What it's saying is degenerate music. And you can see that it's a black man drawn in the caricature that they would do in the old South when they make postcards. And so the story behind this is that in Nazi Germany, they would make propaganda museums. And in these propaganda museums, they would have things that are against, you know, so-called Jewish people. And one of the things was this, because when Jewish people came to America, what they were doing was hanging out with black people. They would latch on to black people who were jazz singers. They learned that jazz and they took it back to Germany. And so the Nazis, they looked at it like it was a degenerate form of music. They looked at it as though it was going to destroy the youth, like this new form of music that these Jewish people were learning from black people. So they put something out like this. They say, you want to be a nigga? Well, this is what you look like. You understand? You see he has a shield of David on his suit. He looks like, what would you call a coon or something? Like a very racist caricature, very dark, big eyes, big lips, with a saxophone in his mouth. But that's just something, that's just you know, something interesting I wanted to bring out. Now, let me get back to this book. Let me pull this book up. Now, as you see this book, in the top left corner, where it's open at the top left corner, that is a theater with Hitler and his generals as they watching these films that they made. And at the bottom, you see, you know, you see Jewish people. You got at the top, he has the Oriental. It has the Niger. I'm gonna say nigger. That's how it's pronounced. It has another group, and then it has Hamilton or Ham. And at the bottom, it has the people that call themselves Jewish. It says Bauter, right? The word in English is bastard, and I'm gonna get to the point of what they're trying to say. So what they came up to the conclusion was that the real Israelites are people who are connected to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are Asiatic, Hamitic, and other dark peoples, right? So that was their connection. That's what they came up with. And they came up with the fact that the people who were calling themselves God's chosen people were not, in fact, God's chosen people. So if you could, young man, get me Zechariah 9:6. And let me get up this word just so I can be correct. One second. Go ahead.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 9 and verse 6. And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Now, what? A bastard shall dwell in Ashdod.
The Bible says, now this is the Bible. This is the Most High's word. This is the prophecies of the Most High. It says that a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Where is Ashdod? Anybody? Ashdod is a city in Israel. The Bible is on point. So what is it really saying, though? What is it saying? Because That's what they concluded in this book. They concluded. I thought you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Like, what does it mean by a bastard? Shadul and Ashton?
Yeah.
Like a bastard is someone without a father, right?
I'll take that.
So like someone, because I remember you broke this book down last time. Like they have no nation that they belong to.
Right.
So they don't belong to them. That don't belong to them.
Right. I'll take that. I'll take that. A bastard is someone that basically saying like, listen, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that is not your father. A people that are not sons and daughters of the Most High, that are illegitimate, are living in the land. They will be in the land. They will be in the Holy Land. The desolation, abomination in the holy place. There will be people there that are not supposed to be there. There will be people there that are not my sons and my daughters. He said, the Lord said, a bastard shall dwell in Israel. Right? That's a future prophecy that is actually happening right now. Right now. Like, these ain't my words. I didn't make this up. This is the Bible, right? This is the Bible. Let me see. Right, sis. What you say? Culture versus culture. Yeah. Oh, yo, crazy. Yeah. It is crazy. The truth will blow your mind, right? If you could, give me John 4:20. John 4:20. Let me see. Yeah. This is something that like what we see today with the land of Israel, this was happening during the time of Christ. This was happening then. This is gonna be a cold cut.
John chapter 4 and verse 20.
Uh-huh.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain.
I want you to go up. Verse 20, you on verse 20? Go like 19, 18.
Verse 18. For thou hast 5 husbands.
Salaki, not 19, 18. Wait, where I want to start at? Okay.
Verse 19. The woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Okay, so this is the woman at the well. The woman at the well, she was getting water. Christ walked up. I think, was she with a man? She was with a man, I think. I'm thinking. And Christ asked for some water. Go ahead.
Start at 15.
Go ahead. Start at 15.
Verse 15. The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not.
Uh-huh.
Neither come hither to draw. Yahushua saith unto her, Go, call thy husband and come hither. Verse 17. The woman answered and said, I have no husband.
Mm-hmm. So Christ told her, she spoke to Christ. He said, Go get your woman and then come back. She said, I don't got no husband. Go ahead.
Yahushua said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband.
Right.
For thou hast had 5 husbands.
He said, you was right. You don't got no husband. You done have 5 of them. Go ahead.
And he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. And thou saidest thou truly. The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
After he told her about herself, about her having 5 husbands, and the man that she was with was not her husband, she was like, I perceive you as a prophet. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 19. The woman said to him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 20. Our fathers worship in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is a place where men ought to worship.
Now this woman is in Samaria. Samaria, if you read in 2 Kings, that refreshed my memory. In 2 Kings, the Assyrians came and deported Israel out of the land, and they put their people in the land. And so in Samaria, which was the capital of Israel, when Christ stepped on the scene, there were heathens living in the land, right? And she is one of them. Go ahead.
Verse 21.
She is a descendant of one of them. Go ahead.
Yahushua saith unto her, Woman, believe me.
No, go read it. Read that from the top. Yeah, and slow it down. Read it from the top.
Verse 15. The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not.
No, not from the top. That last precept you was on. I want you to stay with me.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
She said, our fathers worship in this mountain. And Jerusalem is the place where you say we should worship. She said, our fathers worship in this mountain, and Jerusalem is the place where you say we should worship. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 21. Yahushua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
So Christ said, believe me, it's going to come a time where neither you or your fathers are going to be worshiping in this mountain. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we worship.
So Christ said, you worship, you don't know what you worship, but we do know what we worship. Go ahead.
For salvation is of the Jews.
For salvation is of who?
For salvation is of the Jews.
Christ said, because salvation is of the Jews. There were a people in the land of Israel during Christ's time, living the culture, trying to live the culture of the Israelites. And Christ said, there's going to come a day where you or your forefathers are going to be here, because this is not for you. It never was for you. It's just that my people sinned and the Lord turned his back on them, and he caused them to forget their heritage. What the scripture we went up, Jeremiah 17:4. That is the only reason that you are in the land of Israel today. That is the only reason why you can rock, you can rock a dawada. That is the only reason why you can be in the holy place, in the Holy Land today, is because the Israelites sinned time and time again. A hard-headed, stiff-necked people, a hard-headed, stiff-necked group of niggas, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that think we know everything when we don't know a damn thing. And the Lord turned his back on us. And now we're in a situation where we're in they call it the greatest place on the planet Earth to live, to be at, is America. And we still get treated like dogs. We still get treated as second class. We still get treated as though we're crazy when we're telling the goddamn truth that Black people are Semitic, that Black people are the real Jews. You understand? Go, is that it on it? Salvation of the Jews. You can drop that. Now, like I just brought out, when the king of Assyria, that's second Kings, what is it, 2 Kings 17? When the king of Assyria came and took Israel captive, took them to Assyria, then he put his people in Assyria. You don't have to get it, but I'm going to bring out, they had to make reliefs. Reliefs are in stone. They basically chiseled in stone this event when Israel went into captivity. And so I'm gonna pull it up and we're gonna see what is it like. Do the so-called people that call themselves Jews, the people that call themselves Jews today, do they look like this? These are real Israelites. This is on the walls, relics from the Assyrian Empire, where they had the Jews in captivity. On the left, you have the Jews in captivity. On the right, you have the people who call themselves Jewish today. We just read in some of their history that they descend from the Khazarian Empire. Ashkenazi, or the biblical name for them was Amalek, or the Amalekites. That was the biblical name for them. You understand? That's the difference between the people that's on those walls. There's a big difference. Those was niggas on that wall. And on the right, that is not, those are not, right? Here's another one. The Jews on the walls of Assyria in captivity. These are the Jews. Salakia. On the walls, right? These are God's chosen people, man. These are Black people. Let me get another one for you. Now, this book is called Our Living Bible. And in this book, it shows you pictures, it documents pictures of the Israelites, some Shemitic people. It even says it. If you look, you'll see beards and afros. Let me open this book up real quick. Put it up to the screen. Now, right here, this is the arrivals of Semites in Egypt, Beni Hassan painting, right? Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see. Can we get it? Can you bring the book? Can you get the book? Salaki, I want you to get this book and put it in front. But hold it like that so that they can see. You want to hold it this way so you get the bottom. Yeah, that picture at the bottom. You want to let me see. Let me see. Like this. It'll focus on it. So let me see. Just put your hand like over the lens real quick. So like it. We kind of lost focus, right? Tap the shutter at the top. Just tap it, not hard. So lock it, Israel. It looked like we got a little. Anyway, this is the let me give you the this is from the walls. Well, this is not the walls. This is the actual, what you call it, footrest of King Tut. This is the footrest. So when you look up King Tut, look at all the things he left behind. This is his footrest. This is enemies of the Egyptians. So what you have on this footrest is you got Hebrews and you got Nubians. The darker, you can tell the Nubians by the way their hair is. But you have Hebrews in between Nubians, and they're bound and feathered. You see the back, their arms are tied behind them. Whenever pharaohs would conquer a people, what they would do is they would commemorate that on a wall or on a decoration, just to show you that they have subdued this nation. And so these people represent that particular nation, Semites and Nubians. Right. So just to show you on the walls of ancient Egypt what the Semites look like, they didn't look like the people that you see today. They didn't look like the people that claim to be Israelites today. That's not what they look like. All right. They look like niggas. They had hair of wool. They was rocking beards. They was rocking garments. And that's, and that's just what it was. You know what I mean? Like it's in the records. It's on the walls. You can't go by what people say. A lot of times we don't want to open a book. We don't want to open a book and find out what in the hell was going on back then. Right. And I think I got another video. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up another video. This is what's her name? Let me get it first. It's some lady on CNN, but they had a brother on there. They got to bring one of us on there to really just shit on other black people. So let me get this real quick. I'm finna cue this up, this video. Bear with me. This was about Kanye West saying that Black people were Jews. Okay, her name is Megan Kelly. Right? That's her name. Let me see.
You talking about exactly?
What?
Is that like the guy West would say that's repugnant? That's something that people shouldn't be engaged in. I think some of the selective outrage about these things, and I do understand the unique history of talking about kind of Jewish masters that is gross and despicable. I think there's also a very high probability that Kanye West isn't familiar with that. Again, Jewish black people are Jews. What are you talking about exactly?
What?
Is that like the guys who are in Times Square? The Hebrew Israelites? Because then, how can you take him seriously when he's talking about this? I love the music. Because then, how can Times Square about exactly?
What?
Is that like the guys who are in Times
You hear this?
West
You hear
isn't
this,
familiar with
brother?
that? Again, Jewish black people are Jews. What are you talking about exactly?
What?
Is that like the guys who are in Times Square? The Hebrew Israelites that influence your perspective? Because then, how can you take him seriously when he's talking about this? I love the music.
You hear this, brother? Now they gotta bring some nigga on the show to destroy his own people. And when it comes to us, we'll gladly do it. We'll gladly come on and say anything for Master to give us some trinkets and give us some crumbs from the table. He said, Black Israelite, like Black Jews, what are you talking about? There's gonna come a time where the whole world will know what the Lord is talking about. And let me just get one more thing. I think I left out something. What you can add to when we talk about the Jewish man using black people for his gain, we can get Psalms 137:3. We also, so grab that for me. Give me Psalms 137:3. When you talk about you just watched that documentary, that excerpt I pulled from that documentary, and it talked about how they use black people to tell their story because black people basically had all the flavor and had everything going on for them. This speaks to that. I forgot to bring this out earlier. Forgive me. Go ahead.
The book of Psalms, chapter 137:3.
Uh-huh.
For they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
They carried us away captive and require of us a song. When it comes to black people, when it comes to God's chosen people, we are the people that they look to for entertainment. We are the people that they look to for amusement. We are those people that they look at and they say, you know what? I could use them to tell my story. I could put my thoughts and my dreams in the music, and I can put it in the movies, and I can use their face to tell the story. Or vice versa, I could use my face and use their flavor and their talent and their ideas and present it to the world as though I came up with it. That's what they think of black people. What Kanye West said, listen, we're not in that world. We're not in that world, but we do know that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We do know that. We do know that the imposter is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You understand? That is unquestionable. There's no question in the minds of what is going on in the world and the evil that is perpetrated and the things that you see on a daily basis. You understand? El hombre blanco es diablo de que habla la Biblia. Ya tú sabe. You understand? We know who the devil is. We don't know the world that Kanye West is from. We only see from the outside, right? But for someone that has the status and the platform that he has to say those things that he is saying, it must be happening. And I'm going to give you another video. What time? Time check. It's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna give you another video. This is Lior Cohen. He's one of those executives. He's a Jewish man, right? And he's on up there with Charlemagne and them. And they're talking about people calling him a culture vulture. And I want you to listen to what he says. Let me share this real quick. Cue it up. Let's go. Are we on? Boom.
Opportunistic? Yeah, I got people to feed.
You hear that?
Most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
So Charlemagne is asking, why would you sign an artist talking about drugs and guns and violence? Remember what Kanye West was talking about? I'm a F your B. I'm a kill this nigga. I'm a F your B. That type of music. Why is our music so destructive? It's because of the people that's behind it. Now I want you to listen to what he said, because Charlemagne is asking him why promote that? Why sign somebody like that? Right?
What's this opioid thing, man?
Well, being a crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
I'm saying that's hypocritical though.
It's opportunistic. Yeah, I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make.
You hear that? He said, I got people to feed. I got a business to run. Now Charlemagne said it's opportunistic. Like, why they was talking about how they push all of the negativity in the music, and he's like, I got people to feed. That is the real mindset of the people that control Hollywood and control the music. That is the real mindset. But listen, that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what they do in Hollywood, how they control, if they, the music, or allow brothers to destroy themselves and destroy their community through music. That doesn't matter. What does matter is that you, as Black and Hispanic people, that you realize that if you turn around and you start to serve the God of Israel, and you put down the weed, and you put down the negative lifestyle, and you stop doing the evil, wicked things that you've been doing your whole life, that your situation, our situation, would change overnight. We would not have to be jealous over any other people, because we're God's chosen people. And I just illustrated to you what God chosen people look like, how they should live, and how they should think. And there's a difference between God's chosen people and the people who are not. I brought it out in the history, the 13th tribe. There's another book, what you call it, The Invention of the Jewish Race. The book, Time Life Books, The Nazis. The other book, Our Living Bible, which gives you direct pictures, colored pictures off the walls of ancient Egypt of what the Semites actually look like. And got a couple more books up here. We ain't gonna get to them though. We're gonna wrap it up. So yeah, I think I might have one more precept. One more, right? I want to finish this off. If you could, I knew I was missing something. Give me Revelations 2:9. I knew something was wrong.
The book of Galatians, chapter 2:9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
The Bible says, I know their works, your works, your tribulation, and your poverty, right? Because the Lord is speaking to his people. He knows what we go through. He knows our pain and our suffering. He knows the tribulation. He knows the poverty. Our whole lives is about poverty. The whole way we think in our community is about coming out of poverty, getting the bag. That's our whole life, right? Read it from the top.
Book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
He said, although you're in poverty and you have all these things going on, you are rich. Why are you rich? Why is a black man there's a black man right now that's thinking about hitting a lick. He's thinking about hitting a lick because, the holidays is right around and he got to get his money up. He's feeling pressure from them holidays. And he's seeing everybody with things. He's watching Hollywood movies and listening to, music that's produced by Jewish executives. And he feel like he got to go put in some work. The Bible says that he's rich. There's a man sitting at a corner store begging for change. The Bible says that he is rich. Why are they rich? Because all of the promises, all of the adoption, all of the things that were meant for the Israelites are meant for them, not for everybody else. Keep reading.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
And he said, I know the blasphemy of them that say they're Jews, but they're not Jews. Right? And I said this earlier in the class. I said, black people don't say we're Jews. We don't even know we're Jews. We don't have no clue. We say, I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Tampa. I'm African American. Black people don't say they're Jews. If it ever came to the Most High, they'll say I'm Baptist. But black people don't say they're Jews. Hispanic people don't recognize themselves as Jews. But there is a people on the earth that call themselves Jews. There is a people on the earth that goes by that terminology, that wants to be known by that terminology. Go ahead.
And are not.
But they are not. Go ahead.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
But they are the what?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
And the Lord is so poetic with that because they worship in synagogues to this day. They do their thing in synagogue. Black people are in where? Baptist church, Kingdom Hall, Jehovah's Witness. Where else? You in a Muslim mosque. Yeah, everywhere, but in the synagogue, saying that you are a Jew, that is not even you. This is a future prophecy. This is Revelations, where this is the book that the Christians are scared to read because they don't understand it. Well, if you want the real understanding, get into this truth, get into class and ask questions, and you'll get the real understanding of the Bible and what it's actually saying, and you won't be afraid. In fact, you'll thank the Most High. You'll wish that you had learned this when you was a child, right? Is that it on it? They are not Jews. It's a blasphemy, but you are. And what we're trying to get you to understand in ISUPK is that you are those people. You are the biblical ethnic Jews of the Bible. Give me Jeremiah 16 and 19. This is my last precept. This is my last precept. Right, and we're going to wrap it up. Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 19.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 19.
Uh-huh.
O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refugee in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth.
The Bible says that the Gentiles shall come to the Lord from the ends of the earth. Go ahead.
And shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies.
They're going to say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. All of these things that they thought they were, they're going to realize that their forefathers inherited lies. We just read that they converted to following Judaism in the 7th century. You know how long ago that was? Talking about almost 1,000 years. You know how long? So you've been doing it that long. You probably think that that's what you are. You've been in America for 400 years, hearing constantly that you're African. You probably think that's what you are. That's why a nigga can't separate it in his mind when we tell him, nah, we not African. We're the Israelites. The Africans sold us in slavery to the white man. They not our people either. But you've been hearing this your whole life that you African, the motherland, right? Imagine these other nations for thousands of years. They've been hearing that they're the ancient Greeks. They've been hearing that they're the Romans, they're the Babylonians, they're the Egyptians, they're the Hebrews. All this time they've been lied to. Go ahead.
Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Verse 20, shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods?
Right. So, I'm sorry. Go back. Last precept.
Verse 20.
Not verse 20. 19. Finish the last part of the verse 19.
Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
So they're going to say our fathers have inherited lies. They have inherited vanity, stuff that was useless. This whole time we've been thinking we're the greatest people on earth. You know, like Caucasian, European people. Oh, we brought civilization to the world. If it wasn't for us, the Native American Indians would still be savages. If it wasn't for us, you would be in Africa in the mud hut, because we brought civilization to the world, right? Oh, we are God's chosen people. We're the real Jews. How in the hell are you a Jew? Even the brother on that video said, black people are Jews. What is he talking about? Because he has inherited the lie that black people are black people, and black people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and it ain't gonna get no better. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna get a lot better. You keep the commandments. It's gonna get a lot better when a black man named Jesus Christ returns and destroys this earth. And then you're gonna be ruling the earth, and everybody is gonna recognize you as the rulers of the kings and princesses of this earth. And they're going to bow down to you. And they're going to come down and kiss your feet. You understand? The people that were called an outcast, that nobody loved, God loves you. With that, we're going to end the class. Let's clap it up. Hey, Shalom, Israel. Play this last video for the West Coast Cookout. Let me cue it up. The water for rocking this long. I know I went like 13 minutes over. Let me get it cue this up. Did I play the West Coast video? I think I did. Yeah. We're just gonna hit it out with a song. Let's hit it with this song. Gotta get this shit.
I can't.
Start following God.
That's right.
I know it's something that you probably never heard in your life, but it's something that you must learn. You have to follow that. And Christ came to teach you in the flesh how to follow God.
Right.
That was what Christ's whole life was. He went from city to city, just like we do, teaching how to follow God in the right way, because there was people back then that taught lies too. Right. There was people back then that taught false doctrines as well.
That's right.
It takes a man and a woman to make a child. So if a man is having sex with a man, guess what's not happening? You're not procreating. If a woman has sex with a woman, you're not procreating. Right. So guess what? That means our numbers are gonna go down. Right. Population control.
Tell them about real love. Someone who can put his life down on the line so you can live, man. Keep going. Verse 21. I do not frustrate
the grace of God. I do not what? I do not frustrate the grace of God. I do not what? I do not frustrate the grace of God.
We don't frustrate the grace of God, man. We don't tarry. We don't wait. We are aggressive, man. And on our aggression, we are going to serve God until the day we die because we got to stay ready. And if we stay ready, we're going to get the kingdom of heaven, man. We're going to get the kingdom of heaven. There's no waiting when you come and serve God. Don't be patient to come and serve God. And in your grace, don't frustrate it.
The nations who oppressed you, who stole your land, who took your identity, who gave you bywords.
Pay back the money he so why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angels, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cages, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood, Slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mass shooters. That was designed fire for our babies to pass through it. And the damn by king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
All right, RSUPK, home of the truth. One was, home of New York, 125th Street. That's what we do.
What's the one west?
If I could train a dragon, I could actually tame a lion. Ain't it climbing and I'm shining like a diamond out of Zion.
I'm Israel Know with you, man. Precinct Captain Gadar, Officer 1, man. Listen, inviting you to our West Coast barbecue. You know, every year we having a barbecue on the West Coast, man. Can't wait to see y'all from all over the country pulling up in Las Vegas. It's gonna be a blast again. If anyone been to Las Vegas, you know it's a good time. You get what I'm saying? We're gonna have a good time again. You know what I mean? Big things go on. Parties, barbecues. I know y'all like to gamble. We're gonna gamble a little bit too, man. And drink good liquor. You know what I mean? Most importantly, being community, your is gonna be in the building, so you gotta show up. If you're on the West Coast, man, in any surrounding areas, and when I say surrounding areas, I mean everywhere across America, pull up, man. You know what I mean? The head of the nation, Israel, gonna be there, man, with his solid generals, man. General Muhammad, General Mayak, you know what I'm saying? General Hazayan, General Katham Gabar, General Anya Shawamar, General Q, General Kabbalah, you know General Q gonna be in the building. So, you know, we cannot wait to see y'all, man. You know what I mean? So pull up December 1st through the 4th. It's gonna be a blast of the weekend. We have a good time, man. I'm gonna be there. Dabawan gonna be there. The Wall, he's off camera. Get in the camera at the Wall. He gonna be there as well, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a blast, man. Las Vegas. Tune in. Hey, shout out to Officer Shabal. He's running the whole thing. Shout out to the Las Vegas team. They're going to do everything that's in accordance to having a good time for you. Pull up, Las Vegas, December 1st to the 4th. We're going to be there, man. Shalom.